What is Reality Way? The path of life, first formalized and formulated by Dr. Gabriel through the practices and experiences of which man reaches the state of grace, the realization, the reality referred to by many older spiritual traditions. The system of reality transcends the scientific, philosophical, religious, or spiritual systems we know today by acknowledging and embracing them all. It is based on the Reality Codex, first published in Hungary in 2023, which is a simple, practical guide to the process of realization, where man is able to see himself, the external world, and the purpose of life on earth in reality. According to the followers of reality, it can give real answers to the most difficult questions of life on earth, such as, who are we? Where are we going? What is our purpose? Is there a God? And if so, where?
About cancer. Can it be triggered?
Master, I have a question about cancer. Specifically, once the cancer-causing program has been triggered, in the period afterwards, can it cause physical symptoms? Or are there general symptoms to look out for? And how can I help myself afterwards, or help somebody else I'm leading down this path? Thank you very much.
In reality, very interesting things happen. I said the 7 steps that first you see it in a dream, in meditation, and then a symptom appears. Then this symptom becomes a bit confusing. Then this acute symptom becomes chronic. It persists. And then, if we don't deal with that, we get tumors or organ malformations, limb malformation. You see hands like this, that the liver or any of our organs are deformed. Then there are irreversible processes and so on. Now backwards, the same thing is happening. I'm starting to reverse engineer the whole thing, and we're basically going back down these steps. So as I say, we go from the physical symptom to then, and mentally we get on the program. Then we come back. I've got the program, and by changing the program, I say from the I am mortal program, we put an immortal program into the mentalic. And by the program of my inaudibility, I say I maintain that for 3 weeks, maybe make it a man to have trust in my master or my priest or whatever. And so the program is transformed first by trust, then by experience. I know I am immortal. The experience of my immortality holds me over my heart, and I will be in constant serenity, for I am immortal. So why should I grieve now? If I'm mortal, then it doesn't make sense either way, but whatever. Obviously, if my life is an infinite miracle, and I'm constantly going back and forth between universes, then it's really the most foolish thing to regret, to be upset, to be angry, etc. And if it were finite, then it would be even more stupid, because then you've humiliated yourself for the short time that you've been in love. But in any case, by changing the program, we go backwards, and through the new program, we see the serenity, transcendence. In the words of Bilo Hombas, transcendent serenity. When transcendental serenity appears, we return to energy. Through transcendent serenity, my energy level soars to amazingly high heights. As Zusika said, to amazingly high heights. If my energy is almost infinite, then the physical body will say, bravo. After all, the physical body experiences you as happy. The program is okay. Reality is clear. There's so much energy that it never runs out. You wake up in the morning, going down like a spring at 130 in the morning, like I did today. And then obviously the physical body is any number of years old, or it says, thanks, we can go sledding. The same thing happens if I now go back to the question. I create a process. Tumor has already appeared somewhere. This tumor has appeared. It's just a fibroid at first. Then it becomes, I don't know, malignant. That's where we are now at color 5. I take it and I realize it's telling me something. I realize what it's telling me. I change the program over. Then we go back one step to level 4. What happens? The chronic problem becomes acute again. That's what we notice when somebody goes on a path, any path of realization, any path of self-realization, any spiritual path. Then we notice that suddenly everything is in flame. Suddenly I get a cold, I get snotty, I go to bed, I have a fever, I don't know. I was just holding it. Everyone was so pissed off. They remembered. I told them I was just before class, and then the night before I had a headache. Well, in the morning, I looked in the mirror, but you're authentic, dude. With a head that size. I almost cried. It is inflamed. I had a bad feeling. There was a, what do I know, a little thing above it, and it burst. But anyway, if I don't get in the way and start raising my vibration, it doesn't catch fire because it's there. But the moment I step backwards, we step back from the chronic problem. It becomes an acute problem again. It flares up again. It starts to rage again. You realize, damn it, I'm in pain again. It's inflamed. I have a fever, etc. Not always, but 90% of the time. The problem feels like it is getting worse when it is not. It's just the chronic problem that the body has with fat little bags like that, because it puts the pus into the body fat and bags so that it doesn't contaminate the other organs. So that's what happens with these fasts, that these bags get loosened and you experience again that you're shitty. You almost feel poisoned because these poisons surrounded by this fat and these casings, they open up. And problem becomes acute again, which can feel like, and unfortunately, that's why many people turn away before they've even started on their own journey. They notice that, no, but you heard me, I had nothing wrong, and now it's inflamed. There I went to bed. I had a cold. It hurts there. It's swollen. That's it. In other words, it's a perfectly normal process that if we change the program, they will be amplified. In most cases, the symptom will flare up again, but that's because we've gone backwards, and the chronic problem has flared up again, become acute again. Now, whichever medicine we're looking at, let's say the new Germanic medicine, I'm just saying that, so I've had a lot of experience with these. I've been in these. I've looked at these. But I can agree with Germanic medicine that you need at least a third of the time you're healing something spiritually. We touch it in the spiritual way. It takes about a third of the time to reverse the process, virtually eliminating it and becoming symptom-free. What does it mean? Well, obviously, to be, I don't know, to put a problem together, you have to work hard for 10 years or 15. In other words, if I've worked for 15 years to build up a little bit of a sprawl, it takes at least 5 years at best for it to break down. Except in the case I told you about, which I always mention from experience anyway. It's the Transcendent Cry of Gratitude. It's so interesting that almost in a matter of seconds, sometimes it really does wipe the hell out of physical symptoms, so you just lose the physical symptom. These were called the miraculous, mystical healings of Jesus' day. This exists today, so I've experienced it myself. It's not every day that we experience this, but it happens. Otherwise, normally, it always takes time because the physical body is the densest file. the lowest order vibration. So obviously after the program change, by the time all the information is reformatted, it takes time. Just as there was time to create it. We just don't really notice it because it's very common for a tumor, for example, to appear suddenly and the doctor doesn't see anything in the history before. There is nothing. That's because it really wasn't, because you put it in the shadow. He was constantly repressing girls. Let's repress this inner urge to achieve, to be free, etc. And there's really no sign of it. It only spikes once, flares up once and starts once. Until then, there is complete asymptomatic relief. And then in a few days we see, how did this get here? Because until then, the cells could take the pressure that we put on them, and more pressure was put on our pancreas, liver, and so on. They could take this suppression, and it snapped. But before that, there was no trace of it. That's when you obviously have to advise the person. You'll see that they've been living in incredible oppression, and that's the norm. He was determined to meet the norm. He was determined to please the outside world. He was silent, stifled, not speaking. Okay, honey, it's like you say. And then if we say, well, now is the time for realization, and there will be a button, then basically the pressure is taken off the physical body and the cells. And the problem starts to regress because instead of cells, I start to implement first. And then the system tells me again that I'm okay. Yeah. So it takes time in that alkaline chemistry where you've reversed the program in yourself. When you're making sure, you're consciously making sure that in order for that process to reverse, then for me to be healthy and to stay healthy, I need the joy, the serenity, the play, and the love and gratitude. If you know this, and you remind yourself every day and every hour, and you can do it, you can keep it in the control of the mind, then this process, you are driven home by this symptom. But time, welcome it with patience, love, and as a friend, we should always thank him if we can for some symptom that has appeared, because he always teaches us. It's just that we usually turn our heads away, either suppress it well or learn to live with it good. Oh God.